경고가 계속해서 나왔었죠. 뉴욕시
Let me put the map. Hopefully it doesn't blow up my memory.
파트너십 포 뉴욕시티의 이 스티브 플롭 회장도 기업을 계속 이렇게 몰아붙이면 결국 뉴욕을 떠나서 다른 곳으로 가게 될 것이다라는 우려의 목소리를 계속했었습니다. 지금 분위기는 이렇게.
This is obviously a pirate, but we're gonna switch. Nothing. All right, next one. No difference there. I'm switching, okay, people? Just no difference. I have to wait for the delay. No difference. Now this one is going to be the first true test because 88.5 I usually get Connecticut public radio. The Yagi is pointing away from it. So that's a Yagi. Then I'm going to switch it to the FM. I'm going to call it the FM loop, okay? I don't want to say, hold on. That's the Yagi. This is the FM.
Is doing is I think it's so important.
That's the FM dipole.
You know that Google Earth is actually
hear the difference?
Working to train Google Earth to identify beaver structures now. So they probably would be interested in.
So right now, that is the FM dipole. So the FM dipole clearly is picking up Connecticut Public Radio. The Yagi cannot pick it up. Okay? So we're gonna check that one off as the FM dipole does pick up Connecticut, but the Yagi on the back end cannot pick up Connecticut. So there you go. So that's one for the dipole. Let's switch it back to the Yagi.
System department.
Yeah, it's a big difference. I tell you, it's a big difference. 88.7. That's the Yagi. This is the folded dipole coming up.
We're here with the vibes, the opinions, and louder. See, you know what's coming in hot because we definitely got something to tell you guys. But can we talk about how April was here? Oh my God! Oh God! I can already feel the sun mashing my face, getting tan.
So once again, the Yagi couldn't pick up the station, but the FM dipole is picking it up. I think this is this could be a few stations. This could be I believe New Brunswick. Rutgers University. Rutgers University, I believe. It could be that. Or it could be Hempstead, Long Island. So clearly, the FM dipole is picking up a station. The Yagi, nothing. Here you go. I'm going to hear it one more time. Because I want to hear. I'm going to let this play for a couple of minutes. I want to see if I can hear. See if we get a call sign.
But she bought up Fetty Wap. Okay. Bro. 1738. So hello.
Bro, everybody was singing. And
here's a Yagi.
Everybody was kept singing it.
That's a Yagi. Nothing. Here's the FM folded dipole.
I'm like, damn,
three.
Yeah.
Only three.
That's what I said.
I swear he was gone my whole childhood.
That's what I said too.
No way.
I've been going since I was in middle school.
No, literally, and we're about to graduate college now. So how are you?
That's
3 years.
That's what I was saying. I was like, wait.
He was definitely gone before COVID.
Yes. Everybody was saying, oh, oh, he's been only gone for 3 years. What do you mean he's been gone longer? I'm like, bro,
No,
I
that's
thought he was
impossible.
gone for a hot minute because the way y'all all just going crazy.
Literally, he was Shade Room's posting him in the jail
Yes,
pics.
everything.
One thing about
They
him though,
posted him more than Diddy. I was like,
yeah, I haven't heard of Diddy since Jeffrey Epstein, to be honest. Like, that's the new talk about right
All right, so there you go. Back to the Yagi. So I think this is Rutgers University, which is, again, the antenna's not pointing toward there. The antenna's pointing northwest. So it's getting Rutgers University from... So are you confirming that? WRSU? And that's New Brunswick. So that's all the way. The antenna's pointing this way. New Brunswick is going to be all the way. By the way, that's where the Yagi's pointing to. The Yagi's pointing toward there, and the Yagi cannot pick it up. All right? So there we go. So let's move on. So this is a Yagi. This is the folded dipole. And right now, nothing on both. Nothing. Yagi. Folded dipole. No difference. All right. So this is the Yagi. Folded dipole. So nothing there in either one. Okay? Nothing there in either one. So this is a Yagi. Now folded dipole. No difference. So this is the Yagi, 89.7. Here comes a folded dipole. You can hear something. There's something there. Oh, here we go. Let's wait. Back to the Yagi. I'm going to say the folded dipole. Let me put it back one more time. Folded dipole. All right, so there you go. All right, back to the Yagi. All right, let's go. Yagi, folded dipole. So no difference there. All right, no difference there. They both can pick it up. All right, 90.1, that's a Yagi. And now the folded dipole. That's the folded dipole. So 90.1. Okay, let me get some ads here. Some of these ads. So right now the Yagi, it is what it is. It's just a directional antenna. But the FM folded dipole is picking up more stations. Right now, picking up more stations. Okay, 90.1 with the FM dipole, FM folded dipole. I think that one is going to be. There's a couple of possibilities. I think it's Stamford, Connecticut, or WUSB out of Stony Brook, Long Island, or WFMU, Mount Hope. So yeah, right now the FM dipole is giving it a run for his money. Actually, I think right now it's kicking his ass. I think right now the FM dipole is kicking ass. I'm gonna say it's kicking ass. That's the Yagi FM dipole coming up. So both. All right, next one. 90.5. This is the Yagi. Let me see, trying to hit that, but FM dipole coming up. So get a little more audio now. Back to the Yagi. Yeah. So Yagi, FM dipole, they're both the same. All right, here's the first test. Well, we saw a couple of them already, but here's the first. I'm gonna say true test. But right now, hello Tessa. Good morning from the train. Wishing you a great Monday. You too, my friend. And we'll see you tonight. Yeah, I'll be here tonight for the wrap up of the 30-day live stream. 90.9 WHYY out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The Yagi can pick it up, and it should pick it up because it's a direction antenna. It should pick it up. So I'm going to play both. Here we go. Philly. Here we go. Let me put the play button. Let's hear Philly. That's the Yagi. That's the Yagi. Remember, the antenna's pointing toward there. Here's the FM dipole. Same thing. Same thing right now. FM dipole is kicking ass. They can pick it up too. It's a little better on the Yagi. Not by much. A little bit better on the Yagi, but not by much. All right? .1 Mount Clay, New Jersey. The Yagi. Here comes the FM dipole. FM dipole. Same thing. All right. $91.3. That's the Yagi. Yagi's not pointing up there. That's in Poughkeepsie. WVKR. Here comes the FM dipole. I'm gonna give it a couple of. I'm gonna give it about a minute or so. It's on par, but it sounds a little cleaner on the FM dipole because obviously it's pointing toward that way. This is a very low power station, so they both. Oh no, the Yagi. The Yagi's pulling it in better now. That's the Yagi. Listen, listen. Yeah, that's the round one. That's the Yagi. Here comes the FM dipole. Yeah, the Yagi's winning this one. Oh, another station coming in. That's a pirate. I'm gonna go back to the Yagi. Okay, so the Yagi won this one. All right, that's the Yagi. And that one surprised me a little bit. All right. This is local. They're both gonna have this one. Yagi, FM dipole. They're both the same. That's very local, strong station. All right. 91.7. Yeah, the FM dipole is the round, the one that looks like a loop antenna. Yeah. And that one is pointing northwest. The Yagi is pointing southwest. This is the Yagi. Now the FM dipole. Here we go. So it sounds a little cleaner on the FM dipole. Sounds cleaner on the FM dipole. Let me go back again. This is the Yagi. They're about on par. All right. That's a pirate, by the way. All right. $91.9. That's the Yagi. That's the Yagi. Here comes the dipole. So they're about the same. And that one looks like it's coming from Long Island. All right. 92.1. This is the Yagi. Here comes the FM dipole. So they're both same thing. All right. There you go. 92.3, they're both going to be...
Right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-346-2476.
So either one's not going to matter.
800-346-2476.
Sorry.
You have nothing to lose, but
Sorry, I hate them
everything
since
to
you...
gain.
Yagi,
800-346-2476.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money
so,
managers,
FM
but
dipole,
we're
Yagi.
different.
Are you really that different than the
Back to
rest
the
of
Yagi.
us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides invest?
All right, 92.5. That is the Yagi. Here comes the FM dipole. That's a pirate, I believe. So the FM dipole can pick up the pirate. But that's a pirate. So the FM dipole won this one. It's winning this one. Back to the Yagi. FM dipole is kicking ass right now. It's kicking arse. All right, 92.7. Family Radio out of Long Island. That's the Yagi. This is the FM dipole coming up. Okay. Back to the Yagi. So they're both on par. All right. 92.9. That is the Yagi. All right. Okay. That is the Yagi. Now we're going to switch to the FM dipole. Here we go. FM dipole. Same thing. Nothing there. All right. Let's go to the next one. 93.1. Yeah, this is going to be local for both. So, Yagi, FM dipole. Back to the Yagi. Yeah.
Make your browser fast. Make your browser safe. Make your...
Right? That's the Yagi. That's the Yagi. This is the FM dipole. So nothing there. Back to the Yagi. Okay, nothing there.
Próxima hora te voy a hablar un poquito del mercado de esta semana. Así que no lo cambies, quédate conmigo aquí en Vida Unida, la que te inspira. ¡Feliz lunes!
93.5 Yagi, FM dipole.
Tu sacrificio me dio vida.
About the same. All right.
Tú eliminaste mi dolor.
So this is the Yagi. 93.7. This is the Yagi. FM dipole. Oh, let me wait for that delay. Something's trying to come in. Okay. This is the Yagi. FM dipole. Here we go. And now we're on the FM dipole. So they're both the same. No, not much going on there. Okay. All right.
Protests around the country, obviously including.
So this is a very local station. I want to move it up a little quicker, so I'm going to switch.
And more, and underlying it, opposition to authoritarian tactics to
both the same.
implement those policies.
I'm going to move on a little faster. But we're still down here. And all right, another one, 94.1. 94.1. I had picked a Philly on this. WIP out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, with the folded dipole. I did that last summer. I did pick up WIP out of Philly with that folded dipole. Right now, as you can see, the Yagi's already pointing toward there, and I'm not getting anything right now. Of course, this station is not easy to get, but I have gotten it a couple of times. So right now, nothing on the Yagi. Nothing on the Yagi. Let's try the FM dipole. So nothing there either, okay? So, nothing there. All right.
Ministerio de Enseñanza Bíblica del Dr. Charles Stanley. Jesucristo fue azotado, golpeado y
94.3.
clavado a una cruz hasta morir. Hoy
This is the Yagi.
aquella noche tan difícil en la vida de Cristo. Lo cual
Now
nos
the FM
ayudará a
Dipole.
tratar con el dolor emocional o físico que nos
So I'm hearing another station now. So there's a totally different station that's coming in now. So that's mixing. Back to the Yagi.
Y contiene hechos históricos.
Okay.
Es un libro que se trata de la vida. Es un libro sobre la realidad. Habla de cómo vive la gente.
So this one is very, very directional. So the Yagi's picking up this station, the Spanish Christian station, but the FM Dipole is trying to pick up another station. So we're gonna call that for what it is, you know, like a draw, because it's doing what it's supposed to do. It seems that this station is very right there on the path for the Yagi. The other one is this station is too weak to get the so we're gonna call this one, you know, for what it is. All right, moving on.
El capítulo 26 de
94.5, that's the Yagi. Now the FM Dipole. So nothing on either one, okay? Nothing on either one right there, so we're gonna move on. All right, Yagi, FM Dipole. Oh, no difference there. Okay, moving on. Okay, moving on. 94.9, that's the Yagi. Now the FM Dipole. Nothing there for both, okay? So let's move on. 95.1.
There is power to save, power to heal, power to transform, power to bring conviction, power to turn, power to break habits,
that is the
power to
Yagi.
break chains. That is
FM
the
Dipole.
essence and the power of the presence of God. Anybody with me today believe that? Because I believe it.
That's the FM Dipole.
God, even as I preach
This is the
today,
Yagi.
I invite your presence. Holy Spirit, I pray that you would come and speak.
Okay, now this particular frequency, the FM Dipole is picking up the bridge from Fort Greene. The FM Dipole does pick up that station, but I have picked up I-95 FM out of Connecticut with the folded dipole on broadside. So I don't know what's going on with I-95, if they reduced power now. But normally I would get I-95. That's a rock station in Connecticut. It's in what is it? Wow. Southport, Connecticut, I'm gonna say. It's way up there. So right now I'm not picking up I-95. They're both picking up the bridge in Fort Greene. Okay, so I just want to make that note that the dipole did pick up Connecticut station last summer. All right.
Bush experience and called them to set the
FM Dipole, Yagi, FM Dipole. So they both, okay? No, I'm quiet. So this is gonna be local to both, so let's just, Yeah, okay, so let's just move on. That's going to be local to both. 95.7, let's see. This is Yagi. This is FM Dipole. So nothing there on either one, okay? Nothing there. All right, next one.
There were very big rallies all over the state, and Vicky Volper was prominently featured in a local article in the Westport Journal about organizing the Westport No Kings rally, which I understand was...
This is the Yagi. This is 95.5 out of Southport, Connecticut, okay? So I'm going to keep that in mind.
What were the goals? What were the
this is a Yagi.
Expectations?
Hold the dipole.
Sentiment. And I don't know the rallies.
Very soon.
To hear from at 203-339-422. My other lifetime judge and I attend any rallies of any kind. Pretty much prohibited by the ethical constraints.
That's a folded dipole. This is a Yagi.
There have been rallies in the last 13 years sometimes where my political sympathies may have lied. I have stayed home.
So it looks like the Yagi has a slight edge on that one. Okay? So that means that the Yagi is picking up that station on the back end. On the back end of the Yagi, it is picking up that Connecticut station. Okay? So, but yay, the folded dipole can pick it up also. Okay, so there you go. But the Yagi is a little better sound. Signal is a little bit better. So there you go. All right. So next one.
This weren't being political this weekend. Catching up. Jonathan lives in California. He
96.1. That is the Yagi. Here comes the FM dipole. So nothing there. Okay, nothing there. Let's move on to the next one. This is going to be local on both, so let me just switch. Yeah. Now we're just local on both. 96.5. That is the Yagi. Here comes the dipole. Trying to lock into something there. Alright, anyway, back to the Yagi. Alright, nothing there. That's the Yagi FM dipole. That's the FM dipole. Back to the Yagi. They're both about the same. All right. So they're both about the same. 96.9. That is the Yagi. Here comes the dipole. Nothing. All right. Next one. This one's going to be local for both, so. Yeah. No way. 97.3. This is the Yagi. Here comes the dipole. No, let me try again. Sorry. Okay, that's the dipole right now.
Experience an escape entirely your...
Back to the Yagi. So this one clearly the Yagi's trying to pick up. You can hear audio on the Yagi. It's trying, and you can see the signal, the meter go up. So it's a slight edge to the Yagi right now on this station. All right. That's the Yagi. Okay, here comes the dipole. So they're both on par.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck. They told me I owed them $43,000.
That's the Yagi. Back to the dipole. Okay, so let me put it back to the Yagi. So this is Long Island Station. They both can pick up the station very well. So, you know, I'm very impressed with that one because that is not a station that easily I can pick up. Sometimes, you know, even though there's sometimes I have trouble with that station. Now I've been getting it lately, but there's times I didn't get that station. So I guess now I don't know what's going on. That maybe they increase power or something. But yeah, so there you go. That's out of Patchogue, Long Island, 45 miles. So this is the Yagi 97.7. Now the folded dipole. And they're both the same. Nothing going on there.
$10 por temporada. Yo sé que él, cuando llegue
And
la
this one is
segunda mitad de la
local,
temporada,
so I'm just going to switch.
él se va a reencontrar ya jugando una posición distinta, que es por primera vez.
Yeah.
Y yo creo que él se va a aclimatar a
98.1. That's the Yagi. This is the folded dipole. Nothing. Okay, moving on.
Tomorrow is the final day to nominate a teacher who makes magic or an education support professional that makes magic at a school in Central Jersey. So head to the Teachers Who Make Magic page at Magic 982.
This is WMGQ out of New Brunswick, New Jersey. Okay? So the Yagi is clearly picking it up because it's pointing toward New Jersey. This is the Yagi.
Bridge, Carrie Ann going to be part of our bank.
Here comes the dipole.
All of the folks in the class of 2026. And make sure you're listening Friday morning at 9:40 with Joel Katz. He's going to add to this year's class.
Back to the Yagi.
Short. You need a partner who gives you a greater advantage.
So clearly the Yagi is going to have... Clearly the Yagi wins this one because it's pointing toward New Brunswick. But the FM dipole can pick up the signal, even though it's not as strong as the Yagi. So, you know, I'm still going to give props to the FM dipole because it can at least hear the station. And it's, you know, you can still hear it. Yeah, I mean, there is a little, you know, definitely the Yagi wins this one, but it's not that, not by much.
Business like Comcast business.
Offer ends 6/1/26. New customers only.
This is the Yagi. This is the folded dipole. So nothing there, okay? All right, moving on. So this is local, so I'm going to switch it real quick. Okay, let's just move on. 98.9. .9. This is the Yagi FM dipole. So nothing there, okay? Moving on. The Yagi, here comes the loop. Here comes the FM Dipole. FM Dipole can pick it up too. FM Dipole can pick up that station as good as a Yagi. Okay, 99.1, that's coming out of New Jersey. 42 miles. The FM Dipole can pick it up just as much. Almost, it's you can barely hear the difference. But yeah, it's picking it up. James Father, you can tell it's picking up two stations. Yeah, because remember, it's the Yagi's a directional antenna. But that FM Dipole can pick up, it's going to pick up more than one. And you're going to, you're going to get more mixing on the FM Dipole. All right. So let's move on. The next one is going to be Ellenville, New York. 99.3 Ellenville, New York, which is 81 miles. Okay? 81 miles. Pay attention, people. Pay attention. This is the Yagi. Here comes the FM Dipole. $81 miles.
You had me believing. How many months did you plan on leaving?
81 miles.
You go back. I loved you. How tragic. Oh.
Back to the Yagi. Back to the Yagi. That's the Yagi. And one more time. That's the Yagi. Here comes the FM Dipole. Right here. Yeah, big difference.
107.3 WRWD from
there you go. You got the call sign right there.
Your ultimate workday companion. Thanks for being here. Hudson Valley Country 107.3 WRWD.
There you go. You got the call sign from Ellenville, New York, 81 miles away. By the way, it's low power too. One more time. 81 miles away. The Yagi couldn't even do shit. This antenna kicks ass. All right? If you're not convinced by now, if I didn't make a believer out of you, you better believe this one. All right? So we're done with that one. let me play. Let's go back to the Yagi. All right, moving on.
We're ready to make a stand and have their voices be heard.
Of course.
All right. Is there anything, before we get ready to break for the top of the hour again, is there anything?
This is your chance to save big with up to 65% off mattresses warehouse-wide.
All right, 99.7 is the Yagi. Here comes the FM Dipole. So it's a different station trying to pick up. Like, all right, back to the Yagi. So it's like two different, you know. All right, moving on. I'm gonna wait for this to lock in. This takes time. There you go. Okay. That's the Yagi out of Bridgeport, Connecticut. 44 miles. Here comes the FM Dipole. That's the FM Dipole. Back to the Yagi.
Berkeley College is opportunity. Berkeley College.
WEZN out of Bridgeport, Connecticut. 44 miles. Up into Connecticut. Nice. They both did a good job. That's very good. That's a good. All right. 100. Oh man, all these ads. Come on, man, with the ads. 100.1. This is the Yagi. This is the FM Dipole. So nothing there on both. 100.3 is gonna be Z100. So
you be in the car, your kids be like,
this is local.
Turn it up, mom.
All right, so we're gonna move on. That is a local, a strong local. 100.5, that's a Yagi. Here comes a Dipole. Same thing. Nothing there on both. 100.7. Yagi, here comes the Dipole. They're both the same. Okay, that's coming from Peekskill. So Peekskill, it got both of them. 100.9, that's the Yagi. Here comes the Dipole. Nothing there. All right. Of course, this is local for both, so yeah, this is local for both. So moving on. 100.3. This is the Yagi. Here comes the Dipole. Nothing. All right, moving on. That's the Yagi. This is the Dipole. Back to the Yagi. Now, of course, they're both competing. Normally, I will get WPDH out of Poughkeepsie, but I don't know what's going on with their transmitter. I don't know if it's low in power. Sorry. Oh, let me go back. Sorry. Why did I do this? But sometimes I get Trenton on both. So right now it's competing. I'm gonna say they're both on par. Although the Yagi is clearly pointed toward New Jersey. So again, Gonna play one more time. And then the Yagi. I mean, fold the Dipole. Here comes. All right. So moving on. $101.7. The Yagi. Here comes the Dipole. Nothing there. Okay. Moving on.
7 seconds to go. Take the foul.
Yes.
Because they're going to foul you and you
I'm
have
just
a
going to skip
2-point
this
lead.
because this is already.
And I know that there's
102.1. That is the Yagi. Here comes the Dipole. And that's the Dipole. Here comes the Yagi. So nothing there on both.
No cost or obligation to call. They prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about legal tax
Let's see.
defense is
All right.
they won't take your
102.5. That's the Yagi. Here comes the Dipole. Nothing. All right. 102.7. We're going to skip that because that's local.
Lifeline is here 24/7 for you.
Okay, 102.9 because I want to speed this up. Yagi, Dipole. All right. Next.
I want to invite you to study through God's Word with us Monday through Friday at 6:30 a.m. right here on the bridge.
Did you know 8 out of 10 women decide
All
to
right,
keep
same
their
thing.
baby when they hear his
All right. 103.3. Yagi. FM folded Dipole. Ain't nothing there.
We could find you some space.
All right, we're going to skip this one. Yagi. FM Dipole. Nothing there. Okay.
It is likewise very motivational.
104.1. The Yagi. FM Dipole. Nothing there. Okay.
Somebody's gonna come up.
104.5. It's a Yagi. FM Dipole, nothing there. All right. One of 4.9. That's the Yagi. That's the Yagi. FM Dipole. Nah, nothing there. 105.1.
And then like around the 19.
Let's get that one because that one is a power station. 105.3. 105.3. The Yagi's trying to pick up something. Yagi's trying to pick up something. Trying to break through there. Here comes the FM Dipole. FM Dipole. So it's not any of these. So right now, I have no idea what that station is. That could be a DX. Or it could be a pirate. Yeah, I'm waiting for, there's a little delay here. I'm sorry about that. There's the part that I was hoping that didn't happen. But there is a delay. Again, that is the folded dipole. Back to the Yagi. Nothing on the Yagi. Okay, so there you go. Chalk that one up to the a win for the dipole. Yagi. FM dipole. Oh. But I'm going to get RDS locked. Back to the Yagi. Alright. So 105.5. Of course, the Yagi's pointing toward New Jersey. The FM dipole is not. But it can pick it up. So we're going to say, a slight win for the FM dipole because the Yagi should pick it up. Yagi should pick it up. It's pointing toward Jersey. The FM dipole can still pick up that station out of Dover, New Jersey. Okay? So there you go. Yeah, WDHA. One of 5.7. This is the Yagi. This is the FM folded dipole. I'm gonna play the music. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Holy shit. That's WPDH HD2 out of Ellenville, New York. 81 miles. So the FM dipole picked up another Ellenville station. Holy shit. 105.7 is a relay for WPDH HD2. The call sign actually is W289BE. That is a catch for me. That's a catch.
Why are these auto insurance ads lying to you? I'm a car insurance agent, and I've been in this industry long enough to call out the nonsense.
You heard the stream? You heard the stream? I matched with the stream. Yeah, that's a triple. That's triple right there, baby. Back to the Yagi. Back to the Yagi. What? 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 Back to the FM dipole one more time, one more time. Let's hear it one more time. Yeah, that's over the curvature of the earth. That's right here. This guy right here. Wait. Yeah, right here. That's a DX, baby. That's a DX. Low power too, bro. Look at the power on that. Low power. Holy moly, bro. What are you talking about? All I need now is to get an RDS on that one. All right, moving on. Alright, that's I'm gonna skip that one. That's local for both. Alright, 106.1. 106.1. That's the Yagi FM Dipole. Alright. Yagi FM Dipole. Yeah, FM Dipole wins this one. It's locking in. FM Dipole. That's the FM Dipole. Here comes the Yagi. It takes a while, but I say both, but yeah, so I'm gonna say both on this one. So I'm gonna say both on this one. Of course, the Yagi's pointing away from it. The FM Dipole is pointing toward up there, Mount Kisco. Okay, so there you go. All right, next one. $106.5. 106.5. That's the Yagi. Here comes the Dipole. All right, nothing there. Next one. This one I'm gonna skip because they both get that. It's local. 106.9. This is the Yagi. Here comes the Dipole. Trying to lock in. And I think that's gonna be Poughkeepsie. WJUX out of Poughkeepsie. Very low power station. I picked that one up before. So I'm gonna let it play for another minute. And then maybe I could click on the stream. Oh, there you go.
Trying to prove their point in debating? Not so the servant of the Lord. Says he will have a gentle, a meek, quiet spirit.
Now that one. Let me try Connecticut. That one can't play anything. I have no idea what that is. Let me try again.
That's a fragile plant that's been hurt. And this servant.
Yeah, that is something else. Alright, back to the Yagi. Alright, nothing on the Yagi. There you go. Chalk that one up for the folded dipole. Alright, 107.1. All right, that's Muff Local. 107.3. That's the Yagi. Here comes the Dipole. So nothing on both. All right. BLS, of course. That's just local. 107.7. That's the Yagi. This is the Dipole. And then Weeby 108 is going to be Weeby 108. Of course, the Dipole seems to struggle with it. Kind of struggles with it for a while. It doesn't lock in. But here comes the Dipole. That's a Dipole.
Weeby 108, Connecticut's best music variety in the Lion's Den. Danny Lyons,
44
always
miles.
Great to be with you on Weeby 108, and love to give you some extra money. How about $1,000? And what would you do with that? Maybe pay off some bills or treat your family to something really special. Add an extra day to your vacation.
Back to the Yagi.
$1,000. Well, you deserve it. The Weeby 108 Orange Ale House $1,000 workday pays. And all you have to do is listen to win and text us the hourly keywords for your chance to win $1,000 every weekday. The Weeby 108 Orange
Back to
Ale
the
House
folded Dipole.
$1,000 workday. That starts next Monday right here on Weeby 108.
This is an important message for anyone helping at home with an older loved one who's on Medicaid. If you help your mom, dad, or another family member with things like meals, mobility, personal care, or help around the home,
See, look at how long that is.
for that important family care through a special Medicaid-funded program.
All right, so there you go. So I demonstrated to you guys a FM band scan of the two antennas. We did a comparison. My take on this is the Yagi, it does what it does. It's directional. It's supposed to do that. And by the way, that's the thing about the Yagi antenna. You're gonna get more gain directional, but you're gonna lose a lot more. There is a big compromise. You're gonna lose a lot more on the on overall, on the back end, on the side. You're gonna lose more. So the Yagi, it is a good directional antenna, but that's it. Overall, best bang for the buck, the folded Dipole. The folded Dipole, you can buy that antenna on Amazon for under $15 US. The Yagi, on the other hand, is a bigger antenna, and that antenna is going to run you $60 US. So if you live in a compromised space, like you live in an apartment building, you have a balcony, or if you live in an HOA where you got to put your antenna in the attic, the folded FM Dipole is a great antenna. And you're not missing much, folks. You're not missing much. You can rotate that. By the way, you can rotate that antenna. You can rotate that antenna and that's it. So honestly, I didn't need the Yagi. I bought the Yagi because I wanted to try it out. The proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the pudding. I could easily buy another folded Dipole and point it to another direction, and they'll be just as good as another Yagi. Okay? So that's my take on it. What is your take on it? You put it in the comments. Let me know. Put it in the chat. Let me know.